Good evening, students. Today I am going to start with a new concept, the demand, law of demand, in chapter 2, and this will be the session 3 for you under consumption analysis. Okay, it's a very interesting topic, that is demand. Before going into the law of demand, we'll see what is demand and for all the economists who framed the concept demand. Okay, so demand, it is nothing but the willingness, or we can call it as desire to purchase a commodity. So we have seen in the previous sessions, we have seen production, consumption, how this consumption it takes place because of the demand for a commodity. So demand, it is nothing but the desire to purchase something, whatever the commodity you want. Okay, or willingness or ability to pay the money or price for the commodity and obtaining it. Okay, so this is what Harvey, he says that demand in economics, it is nothing but this desire to possess something. Okay, and or the willingness and the ability to pay a certain price in order to possess it. Okay, so like Harvey, the so many economists, they have defined the term demand, like Stonier and Hawke, they define demand is, in economics, it means the desire backed up by enough money to pay for the good demanded. Okay, so whatever the commodity you want to purchase, you must have the desire. Okay, then you must have the money in your hand. So desire, it makes an individual to purchase the commodity. So in that way, demand, it's the desire or the willingness to purchase the commodity. So now it's very important in the process of consumption. Okay, so now we are going to see the how far this demand it happens. Okay, so demand, it's because of various reasons. Okay, now we are going to see the characteristics of demand. So here, not only the price is an important factor to determine the demand, there are other characteristics also, but price, it is related with the what demand, it is always related with the price. So when, if though you are having the desire, what price only, it makes the demand for a commodity. Okay, so in that way, price is a very important characteristics of demand. Apart from price, we have time period. Though you are willing, you have the desire to purchase the commodity, though you have the money to purchase the commodity, the time period, it makes a very important point to make a decision to for towards the consumption. Okay, so it may, time period, it may be a particular time, it may be a particular day, it may be a particular week, month or year. Okay, so whatever it is, the time period also, it make a important factor, it will be a very important factor for the demand for a commodity. Then market. So market, here it's a place where, we have seen what is market. Market is nothing but a place where the buyers and sellers, they meet together. Okay, so that place also, it makes a decision for the demand for a commodity. Okay, for most of the buyers. Okay, then amount, the quantity. Okay, the specific quantity where the consumer, he is willing to consume the commodity. So all this four factors, it makes a very important part in making a decision to buy a commodity. Okay, so these are all the characteristics of demand. Now we are going to see what is the main important factor which determines the demand, which we call it as demand function. Okay, so what is the function of demand? What makes us to purchase, or what makes us to make a willingness to purchase a commodity, or what makes the desire to purchase a commodity? Price. Okay, so obviously price will be the main important factor or main important function of demand. Okay, so this demand, it depends upon the price of the commodity. Though you are having very high income in your hand, though you are having more amount of money in your hand, if the price of the commodity is very high, what will happen? You will not have the desire to purchase the commodity. Suppose sometimes the price it may be very less also. If the price of the commodity it is very less, then also we people will not have the desire to purchase the commodity. It depends upon the need, it depends upon the wants, it depends upon the taste and preference of the consumer. But anyway price makes a function, okay, whether it is a very high price or low price or standard price, okay. So in that case demand it depends upon the what the function of the price. So that's this is the concept we are writing in a mathematical form. D is equal to f of p. So mathematically the concept of demand function can be written as D is equal to f of p. Here you know D is the demand, f is the function, p is the price. The function it may vary, the function it may vary depending upon the situation, okay. So what are all the situation we will come to, we'll see in this chapter, okay, what function, what how the function it happens between the demand and price, okay. Now we'll see law of demand. So we have seen what is demand. Now we are going to see what are the law of demand, the process in the decision making of to purchase, decision making in the consumption, okay. So here this law of demand, it was earlier, it was stated by Augustine Cournot in the year 1838, okay. So here later it was elaborated and redefined by Alfred Marshall. So we know Alfred Marshall is a very good economist. In the previous concepts and in the previous chapter also we have seen Alfred Marshall is one of the very good economists. He actually redefined and he elaborated all the basic economic concepts, okay. Likewise here Alfred Marshall, he also elaborated the law of demand, okay. And he is giving definition, he is giving a very good definition for the law of demand. The law of demand says, he is saying that the law of demand says, and quantity demanded increases with a fall in price and diminishes with a rise in price. He is telling that the quantity demanded for a commodity, it depends upon the increase and decrease in the price of a commodity. So that's what Marshall he says, okay. And one more economist called Samuelson, he says that law of demand states that people will buy more at lower price and buy less at higher prices, other things remaining the same. Only one important point he is including and he is accepting with Marshall's definition of demand, okay. So it is nothing but what the people's willingness to purchase lower commodity when the price is very high, okay. And also when the price is very less, the people they are demanding more commodities, okay. Whether other things remaining the same, other things what he what he is mentioning about other things other economic factors like income, okay, like time period, okay, like taste and preference of the consumer, okay, all those other remaining economic factors he is mentioning and he is agreeing with the definition of Marshall's demand definition, okay. Now we are going to see with all this concepts in mind, and here Marshall he is framing some of the assumptions of the law of demand. So with all these assumptions only he is explaining how the demand factor it is functioning, okay. Now before going into the law, now we are going to see the assumptions. Obviously each and every economic theory it will have the definitions, meanings, then who has framed the definition, then assumptions, then only the diagrammatic explanations and the conclusions, criticisms. All these are all the very common system which we have in a the economic theory. So in that way here Marshall he is assuming so many concepts, so many points before explaining the theory. In that way he is telling that the income of the consumer remains constant. Okay, so here he says the income of the consumer, when we are going to analyze the law of demand, when we are going to analyze the law of demand, some of the basic assumptions should be there in our mind to proceed it. Okay, so in that way he is framing some of the assumptions, and all the assumptions, we cannot say that all the assumptions will be a positive one. Sometimes the some few assumptions, it may not be very apt in the real world, it cannot be applicable in the real world. Okay, so in that, the first assumption is the income of the consumer remains constant. Okay, so there will not be, constant means what, the consumer, whenever to apply the theory, we can when we like to see the demand curve, analyze the demand curve, there should not be any change in the income of the consumer. Okay, so this is the main important assumption. Then the taste, habit, preference of the consumer remains the same. So to determine the demand function, Marshall, he says that the taste, habit, preference of the consumer, it should remain the same. There should not be any change. Okay, whenever I want to purchase the commodity, so what I have to see, well, obviously price will be the function of demand. When in that case, my income should not be should not be changing. My taste and preference to purchase the commodity, if I want to purchase a cake, a piece of cake, so what should be there, my taste and preference should not be there in the other commodities except a single one. Okay, I should not have any other preferences, I should not have any other taste. Okay, my habit should be the same. All those things he is keeping as a constant. Okay, the next one is the price of other related goods should not be changed. Yes, there should not be any change in the price of the other related goods. So some other commodities also will be there when I go into purchase of a single commodity. So all those prices should not be the change. If the price of the other related goods is very less, then my habit will change. My behavior will change to purchase the other related good. So that should not be there to when the demand is analyzed. Okay, then there should not be there should be no substitutes for the commodity in study. Yes, okay, the study, it is not related with the other substitute goods. Okay, you know what are all the substitute goods. Okay, so these substitute goods, there should not be there. Okay, like for example, you take if you want to see the demand for a demand for a car. Okay, demand for a car. So when you want to study, the substitute goods price should not be taken into account. The substitute goods demand should not be taken into account. What are all the substitute goods? The petrol, diesel, what are it? Okay, or even any other accessories. Okay, then the demand for the commodity must be continuous. Continuously there should be a demand. Then if there is no demand for the commodity, it is not worth to analyze the demand for a particular commodity. Okay, then there should not be any change in the quality of the commodity. Yes, if there is no change in the quality of the commodity, what will happen? When in the case of analyzing the demand for a commodity, there should not be any change. If there is a change in the quality, what will happen? The price also, there will be a change. So whenever there is a change in the prices, obviously the demand also will change. Okay, so in that case he says that there should not be any change in the quality of the commodity. Okay, so if there is any change in the quality of the commodity, the result in the law of demand will change, will keep on change, which will not give a proper result for the analysis. Okay, so in this case, these are all the assumptions Marshall he is having in his mind to proceed with the law of demand. If suppose if there is any changes in the one of the assumptions, what will happen? There will not be any operation of the law of demand at all. Okay, if suppose the operation also it happens, there will not be any proper result for the analysis. Okay, so in that case, with the help of all these assumptions, we are going to see the demand schedule. demand schedule. To analyze the law of demand, you will see the demand schedule, then the graph, and how the demand curve it obtains. Okay, the ultimate aim of us is to see how far the demand curve is, what is the shape of the demand. Okay, so whether the shape of the demand it remains the same or in all the situation. Okay, just we are going to see with the help of a schedule. You see in the schedule we have taken the first column, it indicates the price of the commodity. The second column, it indicates the quantity demanded. Okay, obviously with the help of the data which is available in this schedule, you will understand very easily whenever there is a increase or decrease in the price level of a commodity, what will happen? The quantity demanded, it will be keep on increasing. Okay, whatever the commodity, just you imagine any one commodity. Okay, any one commodity, you take, if the price of the price of a commodity is 5 rupees. Okay, like for example, you take a pencil. Okay, if the price of a pencil is 5 rupees, price of one pencil is 5 rupees, what will happen? You will be, because this is a very common commodity which you are utilizing in your daily life. Okay, you need to have pencil, eraser, then scale, pen. These are all the very basic essential commodities for the students like you. Okay, so here you see the first in the initial stage, if the price of a pencil is 5 rupees, then what will happen? You will demand only one pencil during the time of what? Examinations. Okay, so here the price is 5 rupees and quantity demanded. Quantity demanded means what? Your desire, or your willingness to purchase one pencil. Okay, so your desire to purchase the pencil is 1. Then if the price of the second situation, if the price of the pencil decreases from 5 rupees to 4 rupees, what will happen during the exam period? You will need one more pencil because the price is has gone down to 4 rupees. So now you are taking the decision to purchase two commodity. Okay, so at that time what will happen? The quantity demanded will be 2. If the price of the same commodity decreases to 3 rupees, your quantity demanded level will be 3. Then if the price still it goes down to 2 rupees, then the quantity demanded it will be 4 rupees. Then at the same time, if the price of the commodity decreases to a lower level to 1 rupees, what will happen? Your quantity demanded will be a higher level to 5 rupees, 5 pencils. Okay, so this is the demand desire among the individual to purchase the commodity. Okay, if the price level of pencil goes down, then the quantity in demanded will increase from 1 pencil to 5 pencils. So this inverse relationship will happen. Okay, so the relationship between the price and quantity demanded will, what will happen? There will be a inverse relationship between the price and quantity demanded. So this relationship I have shown in the second picture. You see the law of demand. See the arrow marks, the first arrow mark, it shows when the price goes up, what will happen? The quantity demanded will goes down. At the same time, if the price of the commodity goes down, what will happen? The quantity demanded it goes up. Okay, so you see, if the price level instead of 1 rupee, if it goes on increasing from 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 rupees, what will happen? The quantity demanded will decreases from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So the vice versa will happen when the increase in the price and decrease in the price happens. Okay, so this is the main important schedule, demand schedule. Okay, with the schedule, when you want to, if this is the concept, the basic concept, it is depicted in the tabular column and diagram. Now with the help of the same data, we are going to obtain the graph to get the demand curve. Okay, now you see, this is the explanation which I gave you already. Okay, the relationship between the price of a commodity and the quantity demanded of it. Okay, and what will happen, there will be a inverse relationship between the price and quantity demanded of a commodity. Okay, so whenever there is a changes in the price level, the demand also will be changing. So what changes will happen? If the price of the commodity increases, that quantity demanded, it will be decreasing. What do you mean by quantity demanded? When, as I told you, in case of the price of the pencil, if the price of the pencil increases, the quantity demanded will decrease. Okay, if the price of the pencil decreases, what will happen? You will desire, your behavior will change to buy more commodity. So the change in the behavior of the consumer, we are calling it as what? Consumer behavior. Okay, so if there is a increase in the price, we will not tempted more to purchase more commodities, because the money in our hand, it will be less. Okay, so these are all the inverse relationship between the what, the price and demand, which we call it as law of demand. Okay, there is a law in the changes in the demand. Okay, now we are going to see present the data in the table, in the graph. Okay, so you see we have presented the data both in the x-axis and y-axis. Okay, so in the x-axis we have taken the quantity demanded for pencil. Okay, then the y-axis you are taking the price. So x-axis and y-axis, it decides the what, demand curve, how it will be. Well, how the demand curve we are getting? By joining the what, price and demand curve together. Okay, so here you see x-axis, it represents the quantity demanded, y-axis it represents the price of the commodity, and you see you plot all the price of the commodity, from 1 2 3 4 5. If the price decreases, you see this is the initial price of the commodity pencil. When the price of the commodity is 5 rupees, what will happen to the quantity demanded? You are purchasing only one pencil for your examination. Okay, when the price decreases from 5 to 4, what will happen to the quantity demanded? You are purchasing, instead of one pencil, you are purchasing two pencil now. Okay, when the price of the commodity still it decreases from 4 to 3, the quantity demanded will be 3. Okay, which is a very constant price and demand. The next is, still if the price decreases from 3 rupees to 2 rupees, the quantity demanded increases further to 4 pencils. Okay, then still if you see the price still it decreases to 1 rupees, what will happen? The quantity demanded is extending to 5 units. 5 units of 5 pencils. Okay, 5 units of pencils. Now you join all the prices points and quantity demanded, you will get a edges in all the situations. That is here blue dots, all the blue dots you are getting the edges. Okay, of price and quantity demanded. Now when you join all the blue dots, you will get a straight line, red color curve called DD curve, which we call it as demand curve. Okay, so this is how the demand curve it will be. It will be a straight line curve. Okay, from the left to right. So it's a straight line curve. This is a very common demand curve. Okay, so commonly we call this demand curve, it is downward sloping curve from the left to right. Also sometimes it will be a negative sloping also. Here in this situation, the demand curve, it is what, downward sloping curve from left to right. But there are some situations where the demand curve, it will be a negative sloping curve also. That situation we will study in the coming session. Okay, now we have, this is a very common demand curve among an individual. This is a very common demand curve among an individual. ஒரு single personோட demand desire for the commodity we are predicting in the graph. Now we are going to see the market demand for a commodity. What do you mean by market demand? What do you mean by an individual demand? Individual demand, the desire to buy a pencil in me. I am taking a decision to purchase the commodity. You are taking a decision to purchase the commodity by seeing the price level. Okay, so my demand curve will be different, your demand curve will be different. Okay, and you see the third person's demand curve will be different. Okay, the price will be remaining the same, but the quantity demanded among me, you and the third person and the other persons, it differs. Actually, it depends upon the money how much we are having in our hand. Okay, so if the price is 3 rupees, okay, I will purchase 8 quantity, you will purchase what? You will purchase 4 quantity, the other person will purchase only 1 quantity of commodity. It differs. These are all the separately we are seeing the demand curve, which we call it as individual demand curve. But what is market demand? Market demand curve, it is different. Market demand curve, it is the aggregate or the total demand curve of all the individual person. We call it as market demand curve. Okay, market demand curve, it is nothing but what? The addition of the demand curve of all the individuals. Here in this page we are taking the 3 individuals and the demand curve among the 3 individual person. See the first graph, it indicates the A person's demand curve. Then the second one, it indicates the B person's demand curve. Then the third graph, it indicates the C person's demand curve. Okay, and the fourth graph, it indicates the total of all the 3 persons demand curve, A, B, C, which we call it as what? Market demand. Okay, so in the market, not only the 3 individuals, but here we are taking only 3 individuals for our study, simple study. But in the market, for each and every commodity, n number of individuals. So much of people are there. Okay, so many people are there, and their analysis of all the people's demand will be a total demand curve. Okay, so here you see the first picture, the first person, the price of the commodity will remain the same. When the price of the commodity is 3 rupees, the A person's quantity demanded is 6. Okay, 6 quantities he is demanding. You see, you take the same example, pencil. Okay, when the price of the commodity is 3, the quantity demanded by the A person is 6 pencils. Then you see the D person's quantity, it is 8, where the price is same 3. The B person, he is having the ability to purchase 8 pencils. Okay, then you see the third person, C person, the price will remain same and he is having the ability to purchase 8 pencils. Okay, so the first person, A person is purchasing 6 pencils, B person is purchasing 8 pencils, C person is purchasing 8 pencils. Okay, so now you see the market demand of all the A, B, C persons. Okay, so here what will happen? Now in this case, you see the first person's demand curve, it will be sloping downward from left side to right side. Obviously the other 2 persons demand curve also, it will be sloping downward from left to right, but only the thing is there is a slight change in the shape of the demand curve. Now you see the total demand curve or market demand curve. So when the price is 1 rupees, what will happen? The quantity demanded, it will be 22. When the price increases from 1 rupees to 3 rupees, the quantity demanded, it will be 8. Okay, so you are going to do the addition of all the individual demand curve, you will get the market demand curve. So here when you do the addition of all the three individual curves, you are getting. Now you see, when the price of the pencil is from 3 rupees, the quantity demanded it is 8 rupees. Okay, so here then what happens, no, when the price it decreases to 1 rupees, what will happen? The quantity demanded it is 22. How it is 8 and how it is 22? It is here, you see, when the price of price of pencil is 1 rupees, what is the quantity demanded? 6. Okay, so here 6 plus 8 plus 8 is equal to 22. Okay, then next you see, when the price is 3 rupees, if the price of the pencil is 3 rupees, the quantity demanded is from the A person is 2 plus B person 2 plus C person 4 is equal to 8. So that's why we are taking here as, when the price of the commodity in the market is 1 rupees, the total quantity demanded by all the 3 person is 22. When the price of the commodity is 3 rupees, the quantity demanded it is 8. So it shows that the market demand for pencil is, when the price is 1 rupees, the quantity demanded is 22. That is, it is increasing. When the price decreases, the quantity demanded it increases. When the price increases to 3 rupees, the quantity decreases. The quantity demanded it decreases from 22 rupees to 8 rupees. The concept is very simple. Addition of all the what? The demand of quantity demand of all the A, B, C person is depicted in the market demand. So when you join both the quantity demanded and prices, you will get a demand curve, the common demand curve of all the three individual, which we call it as market demand curve. Okay, so the concept is very simple, and a particular time period, this is very, very important. At a particular place and particular time period, it is very, very important. Okay, the next one here, I hope you understood the demand schedule and how we are getting the demand curve, individual demand curve and market demand curve. Now we are going to see what are all the factors or determinants of demand. Determinants of demand, it is nothing but what are all the factors we can say, or what are all the reasons which makes a demand for a commodity. The first factor is changes in taste and fashions. Okay, obviously, if there is what makes the demand for a commodity, what makes the increase in the demand for the commodity, what makes the decrease in the demand for the commodity, what makes the what factor makes the demand to remain constant always. Okay, so we are going to see some of the determinants. The first one is taste. Okay, so the taste, the demand for the goods and services, it depends upon the taste and preference of the consumer. Okay, so we know, so we are consuming so many commodities. Okay, we are having so many commodities in our home. So all those things, commodities, how we are purchasing, whether without any preference, without any expectation, without any taste you are purchasing. No, you like the commodity, which we call it as taste. You are very much fashionable towards the commodity. Okay, so you are very you will be having the tendency to utilize the fashionable commodity like clothes. Okay, so every day we used to have different commodities. Okay, we used to consume, we used to wear so many different commodities. Okay, so in that case, the taste and preference and fashions, it leads to the changes in the demand for a commodity. Okay, so during festival times, your taste of purchasing the clothes, it will be very different. You will spend lot of money to purchase the commodity, but on the other ordinary days you will wear very simple clothes. Okay, so that time your taste will reduce. So that changes in the taste and changes in the fashion, it decides the demand for a commodity. The next one is changes in weather. So changes in the weather also, it decides the demand for a commodity. During the period of summer, you will have the tendency, you will have the desire to purchase the cool drinks, okay, ice creams. You obviously, those people, those who are living in a very hot places, they need to consume the what, the ice creams, the cool drinks, all those things, okay. So in that case, the demand for the particular commodities, it will be keep on increasing. Whether those commodities will be consumed by the people, those who are living in a very chill climate, no. The weather, it decides the demand for the commodity, okay. The next one is taxation and subsidy. Yes, obviously taxation, it decides the demand for the commodity, because the taxation, it decides the price fixation, okay. So whenever there is a whenever the government, they are fixing the high prices for the commodity, what will happen, we need to pay the taxes indirectly. They'll fix high prices, the seller, producer and the sellers, they fix high prices for the commodity. So when the price is fixed highly, what will happen, their demand for the commodity, it will be what, it will decreases, it will decreases. So and one more concept is subsidies. The subsidies will bring down the price level of the commodity. Like for example, you see the public distribution system. One side, the tax fixation will be very high, so that the price level of the commodity, it will be very high. The people, those who are having the money, more amount of money, or the people, those who are having high income, they will have the ability to pay high prices for the commodity. Among them, the demand for the commodity, it will be increasing. But at the same time, it cannot be found much among the lower income people. At that time, what happens, the government, they'll come, they'll give the subsidies for the commodities, and they fix low prices. The best example is public distribution system. Through the public distribution system, they distribute the agricultural commodities and other commodities by fixing lower prices for the commodity. So at that time also, the demand for the commodity, it rises, okay. So both taxation and subsidies, it decides the demand for the commodity, okay, which is a very important factor in the current situation. Then the next one is changes in expectations. Yes, obviously the expectations also, it will be it will be very common common among the people. Like for example, you see the prices of gold commodities, okay, and other commodities. It makes the people to decide what decide the demand for the commodity. They will think, well, in future, if suppose the price of the commodity is going to increase, today itself they'll run towards the gold shop, they'll purchase the commodity, okay. So there are some festival seasons also. So in that case, before we know, during the time of festivals like Akshaya Tritiya, what they will do, what the sellers they do, they used to fix high prices for the commodity, okay. At that time, what happens now, though it is the in future, okay, so in future, maybe next week, next month, if suppose there is a there is a market situation, if the price of the commodity is going to increase, what happens now, the people today itself, they'll run, they'll purchase the commodity, because today the price of the commodity will be low. Maybe next week, next month, the price level may change, it may increase, okay. But some exceptional cases, if suppose there is any festival season, though the price of the commodity is very high, that time also the people, they will purchase, okay. But the common thing is, they expect that in future there will be an increase in the price of the commodity, and now itself they'll purchase the commodity. So that kind of activity will lead to increase in the demand for the commodity. The next one is changes in savings. So changes in savings also, savings and demand are also inversely related. The savings also, it determines the demand for the commodity, okay, in several ways. If suppose the savings, okay, if I want to save the money, okay, so at that time what happens now, I may avoid the purchasing a particular commodity. Okay, if I want to save the money, if I want to invest the money in any other thing, so I don't want to purchase any commodity at that time, the demand for the commodity at that situation in me, it will go down. If I don't want to save the money, simply I will purchase the commodity. I may at that time the demand for the commodity, it increases. Okay, so both the things will happen. The savings, it decides the demand for the commodity. Inverse relationship also it will happen. Then the state of trade activity. Yes, during the period of boom and during the period of depression, what will happen? The demand, it arises depending upon the boom and depression. Whenever there is a what the the during the period of boom, what will happen? The demand for all the commodities, it will be increasing. Okay, during depression. So when there is a changes in the economic situation of a country, what will happen? There will be a what? Yes, there will be a decrease in the demand for the commodity. It is nothing but like, if you are having the money in your home, if your family member, if they are very much well to do, if they are working, if everyone is working, the income of the whole family, if it is keep on increasing, obviously you will spend lot of money, okay, in purchasing the commodity. You will enjoy your life. Okay, at that time the demand for the commodities, it increases. If suppose only one person is earning and you need to adjust with it, all the members of the family, if you are depending upon only one person's income, what will happen? At that time the depression will start. Okay, so when the depression it's found, what will happen? You cannot spend a lot of money in purchasing all the commodities. You will you will keep on what you will not spend lot of money for unwanted commodities. Okay, at that time the demand for the commodity, it goes down. Okay, which we call it a state of trade activity. The next one is advertisement. Yes, this advertisement now it plays a very major role in the decision of a demand for a commodity, and it's a very powerful instrument also. Okay, so whenever you take your cell phone, whenever you sit before the computer, what will happen now? When your aim is to what? Study. Okay, at that time on the side, you will get a pop-up advertisement. Okay, where it's your mind, you will divert your mind to see the advertisement completely. Okay, at that time when you see the advertisement completely, you will be tempted to purchase the commodity. Okay, so in that way advertisement, it plays a very important instrument in the increase in the demand for a commodity. When you sit before a television to watch any small program, before completing the program, there will be more of advertisement. Where the advertisement, it will tempt the people to purchase the commodity. Okay, the small kids, they'll be interested with the commodity, and they will compel the parents to purchase the commodity. At that time what will happen? The demand for the commodity, it increases. Okay, so advertisement, it plays a major role in the changes in the demand for the commodity. The next, changes in income. Yes, as I told you, it is related to the what? The sixth one, the increase in the family income. What will happen? If everyone is earning in a family, obviously your family income, it is very high. Okay, then you will be tempted to purchase the commodities like what? The video recorders, the refrigerator, so many things. Okay, then what will happen? At the same time, if the income of the income of the family is very less, what will happen? This kind of situation will not happen. The demand, desire to purchase the commodity, it will go down. At that time the demand also, it will go down. Okay, so both the things will happen. Increase in the family's income and decrease in the family incomes, it decides the increase and decrease in the demand for the commodities. Okay, then the next one is change in population. Yes, like family income, the population also it decides the demand for the commodity. If you see the population of India, you see India is a very densely populated country, and so many people are there. As the number of people is very large, the size of the population, it decides the demand for the commodity. Okay, the producer in our country, he will see the according to the size of the population, he has to produce a lot of commodities. Okay, so the production, how much ever he is producing, he has to distribute the commodities. Okay, he has to sell the commodity in the market. So whenever there is a larger number of people, the consumption, it will be keep on increasing. Okay, so the tendency to consume, the demand, it arises. Okay, so if you see the family, a single family will have only 3%. If you see the joint family, more than 15% is there, what will happen? What will be the demand and consumption level of the two families? What will happen? The nuclear family, they will purchase very less commodity, among them the demand will be very less. Okay, so if you see the larger family or the joint family, more number of people will be there, among them any function, any festival, they need to consume lot of commodities for their day-to-day life. So among them the demand will be keep on increasing. So in the joint family, the consumption, the demand level, it will be very high. Likewise, you see as a whole in the country, you see so much of people are there, population level is very high, among them the demand for all the commodities, it is very high. So at that time there will be a high level of demand among the commodities. Okay, so these are all the determinants of the demand. Now we will see the exception to the law of demand. Exceptions means it is we have seen the demand curve, it is always sloping downwards from the left to right. We have seen here, you see the previous curve. This is a demand curve where the demand curve, it is sloping down from the left to right. It's a straight line curve, D curve, red color line curve. It's a sloping downward curve. It is not the same always. This is a common situation, but there are some exception situation where the demand curve, it will be a what? It will not be a, it will slope upward from left to right. Okay, this is also a situation found among some of the exceptional consumers. Okay, here you see there are some situation. At that situation, what will happen? The demand curve, it slopes downwards from left to right. That is, it starts from here and it goes on and it end up in the right. Okay, so how, when, among, where, we'll see. Okay, so here this is the unusual demand curve actually. Okay, so here how, when it happens means, how it happens means, when the price level of the commodity changes, what will be the quantity demanded? There will be extension in the quantity demanded. See here, if the price level is from 0 to P1 level, the quantity demanded, it will be from 0 to Q1. This is the quantity of the commodity consumed by the consumer. Okay, quantity demanded by the consumer, 0 to Q1 level. If suppose the price of the commodity increases from P1 level to P2 level, at that time also the quantity demanded still it increases from Q1 to Q2 level. This is very, very important. In the common demand curve we have seen, when the price increases, the quantity decreases, we have seen. That is the common situation found among the common people. Okay, that is the common situation. But in the exceptional case, even though the price increases, the quantity demanded, it will keep on increasing. Okay, like for example, you take the luxurious commodities like car, bike, cell phones, even gold, diamond also you can see. The ladies, they'll be very much fond of purchasing gold commodities. Okay, your parents, the ladies, they'll be very much fond of purchasing gold commodities. Though the price increase, you see the price level of the particular commodity for the past 5 years, whenever there will not be any changes. Okay, it keep on increasing. Then you see the petrol prices, diesel prices, the price level, it keep on increasing. Whether we are decreasing the consumption level, no, it's our basic necessity, our need, our wants, it keep on increasing every day. That's why we have seen what are wants, needs, everything in the previous chapter. Okay, so our want, our needs, it is everyday wants, everyday needs, it is keep on increasing. At that time, though the price level it increases from P1 level to P2 level, like luxurious commodities like cell phones, obviously every day you want to use, often you want to use different advanced technology. Okay, at that time, though the price level increases, the quantity demanded will be increasing from Q1 to Q2 level. So at that time, we are getting 2 points of the combination of price and quantity line here, E and E1. This is the increase in the demand for the luxurious commodities, and increase in the price level leads to increase in the quantity demanded, and it joins at the point E1. Now when you join both the E1 curve, E1 points, we are getting a demand curve called DD, red color curve. Okay, so it's a, now you see how the demand curve is. It is a what? It is a um, it is a curve which increases from the what? Increases from the left side to the right side. Okay, left side to the right side. Okay, so both the situation it happens among different kinds of people. One, the common kind is the demand, depending upon the price and demand, the demand quantity demanded, the demand curve it slopes downwards. But in some of the exceptional case, the demand curve it will be a what? It will be a increasing curve from left to right, which we call it as what? The exceptional demand curve among the luxurious commodities. Okay, now we are going to see some of the reasons why this exceptional demand curve it happens. There are three points we need to know to analyze the exceptional demand curve. One is Giffen paradox, then Veblen or demonstration effect, and ignorance. Okay, these are all the three. The first one is Giffen paradox. You see, this Giffen goods also we call it as inferior goods. Okay, so it's a very important common fact which is and very assumption to the law of demand. When the price of the inferior goods falls, what will happen? The poor will buy less, and vice versa will happen, like rice, ragi. Okay, which we call it as Giffen paradox. Okay, then Veblen effect, the doctrine of conspicuous consumption, like as I told you, the luxurious commodities. Okay, luxurious commodities, people they will be tempted to buy, the rich people, the business magnates, they used to have the very high price commodities like cars. Okay, nowadays the cell phones. Okay, so they want to they are importing the foreign commodities also, and they are using just to show off before others. They used to, some the people those are having high income, the people those who are very rich. Okay, they used to have consume the luxurious commodities. Okay, among them what will happen? The demand for the commodity it increases though the price increases. Okay, so which we call it as what? Veblen effect. Then ignorance. So ignorance, sometimes what happens, look, if the quality of the commodity is judged by its price, consumers thinks what things, if the some of the people they say, they think that if the price of the commodity is very high, the quality will be very high. Sometimes it is very correct also, but Marshall he says that it is of their ignorance. Okay, some people that think that if the price is very high, the quality also it will be very high. Thinking in that way, they demand the commodity. Okay, they like to have a very qualitative commodity. Of course, it's very it's applicable in the current situation, but then according to Marshall, he says that ignorance also it plays a very important reason for the exception demand curve. Okay, so these are all the reasons for the exceptional demand curve. The next is speculative effect. Speculative effect also, if the price of the commodity increasing, then the consumer will buy more of it because of the assumption for the expectation that it will increase still further, like stock markets. Okay, so if the price of the commodity increases, what will happen? Sometimes like the investing money in the stock market, what happens? No, the consumer they think that will buy more. Okay, so because they will get a very good result in the stock markets. Okay, so that speculative, which we call it a speculative motive. Okay, so that speculative motive will bring a speculative effect in the exceptional demand curve. Then fear of shortage. Yes, during the period of emergency, okay, during the period of changes in the climate, during the period of war, people what they will do, they will expect what they'll expect that there will be a shortage for the commodity. Okay, like what happens now, we are the same kind of situation the Sri Lanka they are facing. There is a shortage of the commodities. Okay, they are rushing towards the shop and they are purchasing the commodity, thinking that there will be a shortage in the future, and they are started to purchase the commodities in bulk to keep it in their house to survive in future. Okay, so in that case what happens, no, the demand for the commodity it is increasing. Okay, so at that time what happens, no, though the price is very high, they are tempted to purchase lots of commodity and keep it in their home. Okay, so fear of shortage. So these are all the reasons why there is a there is a changes in the structure of the demand curve. So the common structure is the demand curve, it slopes downward from left to right, but in case of some exceptional cases, the demand curve it will be increasing from the left to right. Okay, upward sloping curve, that's a downward sloping curve upward. So this is the difference between the changes in the demand curve. But now in the current situation, the exceptional cases only it is more actually. If you see Sri Lankan case, and you see because of Russia and Ukraine war, the demand curve it changes actually. These are all the exceptional cases. Okay, so with this I am finishing the law of demand. We have seen what in this session we have seen what is demand according to Marshall and Samuelson, and what are all the characteristics of demand we have seen. Then we have seen we have seen the scheduled of demand with the help of the diagram, and we have seen the explanation how for the demand curve it is the what is the shape of the demand curve, whether it is a downward sloping curve or what the upward sloping curve. So both we have seen with the proper reasons we have seen. Then in the next class I'll still we are going to see some of the demand concepts in the next session. Okay, thank you so much guys, thank you for watching my video. Bye, take care.